Very good afternoon to all of you. Dignitaries on the dais, Mr. Vijay Thadani, Dr. Sanak Mishra, Mr. Ninath Karpe, Ms. Sushma Barlia, Mr. Shankar, Dr. Naushad Forbes, and of course, Michael Spence, who gave an excellent talk right now, and some of the people who are associated with the CII, AICTE award juries. They are in the audience. Dr. Rajan, Professor Natarajan at the back, front and the last rows. I think we have learnt a lot in this last couple of hours from 5 excellent speakers. And most importantly, there was a release of 7 reports. Normally in this particular function, only we used to release AICTE CII survey industry report. This time we have 7 reports being released. They are like 7 colors of the rainbow. And I think they are wonderful reports. I was just glancing through them, whether it is Deloitte's CII ASHE report, Trends in Internationalization of Higher Education, which is becoming very important these days, glimpses of MOU exchange between different institutes and the industry which took place during the Visitors Conference, CII I3 Innovation Challenge, which are 5 years of innovation awards which were there, Indian Citation Index, which has come off for the first time, and also the Indian Science Ascending Nature Index. I think these reports are going to be worth reading by everyone. I think that's a very important thing which CII has done. This particular initiative between CII and AICTE goes back to 2012. One of the reasons was often there has been a talk about employability of our Indian graduates, and this was a question mark which was raised by industry all the time. And what can industry do for becoming better employable engineering graduates? That was a question which was always on the mind. And therefore, how can we have a better interaction between industry and the academic institutions was one of the key areas which prompted to start CII, AICTE, industry-linked awards, and that were started only for 6 engineering disciplines way back in 2012. And the number of institutions that participated were only 156 out of a total of 1070 institutes who had shown their interest. The next year, in 2013, the management, pharmacy, and architecture disciplines were also added to this list, and 1070 institutes participated, and out of 9,381 possible institutes. In 2014, a new category of emerging institutes was also added, and the number increased to 1124 institutes out of 10,553 institutes. And this year, in 2015, we have about 24 categories. Of course, the awards were given only in 17 categories and 4 mentor awards. That is total of 21 awards, and 1225 institutes participated out of possible 12,234 institutes. So the number is hovering around 10%. Now this is what everyone is asking about. Why is it that it has not picked up and it remains at 10%? And there are various reasons. One of them is we have to reach out to other institutions who are probably not aware of this particular CII Industry Institute Interaction Award. The second one is those who are not performing as well as these 2,000 odd institutions, when they see the pro forma and they find that we don't find a place here, so they may not be able to participate in this, and that's another reason which needs to be looked into. And therefore, there are twin challenges which we have to address. The first one is how do we reach out to all the institutions, technical institutions in the country, and encourage them to participate in this. And second one is how do we handhold, mentor some of these weaker institutions, because one of the challenges which we are all talking about is employability of graduates. And if these weaker or poorer institutions continue to be there, I think the challenge to the industry is going to be even more. And therefore, probably what needs to be done is we should have a mentorship program whereby some handholding of these institutions is done by well-performing institutions. And that is in the right perspective that CII and AICTE decided to have the Mentor Institutes Award. 4 of the institutes have been given this time mentorship responsibility. I'm sure that these 4 institutions which have been doing well, they had received these awards in consecutive 2 or 3 years, they have been asked to now start mentoring other institutions. Thereby, this chain can continue, and we will have more and more institutes not only participating and doing well in terms of industry-institute interaction. Just now, Dr. Spencer very candidly pointed out that there are a lot of misgivings in the governments about the industry funding or industry research coming to the institutions and so on and so forth. I think one of the most important things which he mentioned is this particular interaction or collaboration develops what is known as capacity building. And this particular CII industry survey which we have been doing, in fact, the very pro forma starts triggering a reaction amongst the institutions. There are various facets of industry-institute interaction about which the questions are asked. For example, whether you have an adjunct faculty coming in from the industry, do you have any industry projects which you are running, are you taking consultancy from the industry, are your students going for internships in the industry, are your students getting employed by the industry, to what extent of percentage of students are getting employed. I think these questions will naturally trigger all those institutions into thinking about how do they perform better through this particular industry-institute interaction. And that's where the first learning begins. Maybe they may not be getting the awards. At this point in time, I first of all congratulate all those institutions who have received these awards, 21 of them. But nevertheless, all those other 1,024 who have participated, they have shown their inclination and interest in developing industry collaboration. I think that is an important initiative, and I congratulate all those 1,000 odd institutions as well who decided to participate in this. As far as the different initiatives are concerned from the government as well as from AICTE in order to excel in terms of this kind of interaction, National Institutional Ranking Framework is also another initiative which has been developed and has been launched only today. I think many institutions who participate in Industry Institute Interaction Awards, they should also participate in that, so that many other facets which probably they are not looking at, they would start looking at them as well. There are 5 parameters through which this particular ranking process is going to take place. One of the triggers for this is we always crib about not many of our institutions appearing in our international rankings, whether it is QS, Shanghai, or the Times Higher Education ranking. And therefore, a National Institutional Ranking Framework was developed by the Ministry of HRD, and it has been already launched. And it has been extended to many other fields as well, other than engineering, in terms of pharmacy, architecture, and general education as well. 5 key parameters include teaching, learning, and resources. I think that's very important for any institution to have the best quality faculty, and therefore, how do we engage in getting those good faculty? Having an excellent faculty-student ratio as well as their qualifications. It's very important as far as undergraduate education or postgraduate education is concerned. The third one is about research, patents, and products. What are they doing in terms of that? In fact, here the collaboration with industry will also come into place. And then the outcomes of the students in terms of whether it is employment, whether it is in terms of results in the public university examinations or public systems, and how many of them are becoming entrepreneurs and so on and so forth. I think how are the students performing outside. And the fourth one is about the inclusiveness. And this is a special parameter which has been defined in our system, where inclusiveness in terms of whether it is physically challenged students, whether it is socially backward students, or people who do not have capability of learning, how is it representing all the regions of the country, and more important, gender equity. In terms of all these parameters also, the institution is going to be tested. Lastly, there is a perception which plays an important role. Probably what industry feels about an institution also will carry a lot of weightage in this. And therefore, if we try to do our best and start incorporating ourselves in terms of this, I'm sure that some of our institutions who will learn lessons from this and will find place in international rankings as well in the years to come. We have started a couple of important programs at AICTE for handholding and mentorship. It's called Margadarshan program. Some of those well-performing institutions, we expect them to apply for this, showcase their best practices, to other about 10 institutions in and around them and handhold and mentor them. This is one important program. We also have a new scheme in which industry personnel, if they want to come to an academic institution as an adjunct faculty, there is a support which is provided by AICT to increase industry-institute interaction. In general, I think what is most important is how do we develop capacity amongst our institutions, thereby gradually, year after year, they perform better and better, and therefore both industry gets benefited in the process and students also get benefited in the process. It's an excellent win-win situation that we are looking at, and I'm sure this particular initiative will continue for years to come, and I will request the industry support, whether it is in terms of setting up of excellent labs in the institutions, whether it's providing faculty as adjunct faculty to these institutions, providing challenging problems to the undergraduate, postgraduate students for doing their project work, and continue to have an engagement. Well, most important thing is once we start talking to each other, many new things keep happening. And it's the person-to-person contact which Mrs. Sushma pointed out is very, very important. Only signing of MOUs between institutions do not help, and we require a person-to-person contact to be developed. I'm sure this platform will provide that opportunity, a golden opportunity for all of us, and I'm sure our technical education system, which is second largest in the world today, will become the best in the world as well. Thank you very much.